perfectly. Now it's time to review Mr. Mikemurfy. Make sure that you can see that. Alright. It's a little smaller, but I actually can't make this replayer any bigger. So sorry about that, guys. Is Mikemurfy still there? He's still there. Alright, let's go. Fold, 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 fold. Yep. Well done so far. Check. Seems good. Pretty good spot. Feel very comfortable playing a single table. Get to know how they play when they're folding. When I play more tables, I get lost. That's fine, Marcos. Just practice, man. Just stick with one table until you feel very comfortable, and then try two. And if it's too much, go back to one. It's just about practice. Eventually, you'll get better at playing more tables. Alright, this is a pretty interesting spot. I don't like folding, so it's just a question of whether we bet here or whether we check call. I think both are fine. I'd probably just bet, just because I think we have the best hand, and there aren't too many bad turn cards. I mean, that's also a good reason to check call, so I don't think it matters whether you bet or check call here. I don't really like your bet size. I think 120 is a bit too much. Because for your hand, let's say you only have second pair, so when you bet, you want him to call you with worse 8s and 3s, and some draws are... If he calls you with a draw, it's okay, because if the turn is a club, you have the redraw to the nuts. So betting 120 is a bit too much. I just bet 50, man. That's fine. You never really want to overbet, because what you usually do is you make all the worst hands fold. Like if he's got 8-7 here, he's probably just going to fold. But he's probably going to call you with the much stronger part of his range. Oh, you mean the number of players? Oh, I see what you mean, Marcos. That's fine. A lot of players play single table sit and goes for their whole career, like me. So that's fine. If that's what you feel comfortable doing, just stick with that. You can make good money in them. Okay, so he called you. You're in a weird spot now, because he could have a jack, or he could have a draw, because he called quite a large bet. I think your bets here is fine. Now all the draws missed. Like if he was calling you down with a flush draw, or a hand like 10-9, well I guess 10-9 gets there, but all the flush draws miss. So it might be better here just to check call. Well, you have to fold now. I can't believe you won this hand. I would fold, because this is really strong. This tells me that he has 2 pair, or 10-9. Wow. Good read, Mikemurfy. I wouldn't have been able to make that play. I think you got pretty lucky to win that hand, actually, but well done. You were right. I would play that much differently. Alright. Yeah, this raise is good. Against a limper, King Queen's a pretty strong hand. You could also just limp if you wanted to play it a bit more safe, but a raise is not wrong. Okay, so who out of you has the stronger range? You do, because he just limped and then he just called. So you are the one who can represent all the hands like Ace King, Ace Queen, Ace Jack, Ace 10, Aces. Like, you have all those hands, but it's very unlikely that he has them. So you should be betting here, is my conclusion. And, yep, there's the mistake. Now, I guess an argument for checking is if he has an ace, he's not folding, and you beat all the unpaired hands with king queen. Yes, that's true, but by checking here, what you do is you allow him to try and bluff you on the turn, and you also make it so if he decides to call you with a hand like pocket eights or pocket nines after you c-bet, it's very easy for you to bluff on the river, because what he'll usually do is just check the turn and then he'll check it to you on the river, and the turn and river are often going to be hands that are going to be very scary for, if he has a small pair like sevens or eights or nines. So I think overall betting here is much, much better than checking. Like, yeah, you check because you have king queen high and he's not going to fold a better hand, but it's possible that he will fold a better hand by the river. Okay, now your bet's fine because, well, actually, you could just continue checking because it's a similar situation. If he has a pair, he's definitely not folding. And you already beat hands like king 10 or king jack, so what's the point of making those hands fold? But I guess you can argue that you bet here to get value out of a flush draw, and if he has a hand like 8-9 or something, you're betting so that hands that have equity against you can't hit on the river. So it's fine. I would have played those hands differently, but that's not going to lose you or win you a lot of money. In these games, you just want to make sure that the hands you're playing in the later stages, you're playing correctly when the blinds get high. You're not making big mistakes there with your pushes and your folds. These little differences that you and I have so far between post-flop hands, it's going to make a difference when you move up and you start playing more confident post-flop. But at the moment, just make sure you don't go broke. With that ace-8 hand, when you got raised on the river, if you were wrong, you were down to 700, 600 chips. That's a big risk to take. Similar situation here. What is going on? So we just got a free play. We don't hit anything, so we should just give up. I don't know why you called here. You have 9 high, no draw, no flush draw. Even if you hit a 9 or a 6, you can still be behind. So maybe this is just a frustration call, or maybe you like 69, I don't know. Just fold here. Post-flop's pretty poor. Mine was as well, Mike. When I first started out, I made the most terrible post-flop plays you could imagine. But how you improve is be much tighter and just don't put any money in post-flop without a hand. Be very tight. Like, you don't have anything here. Just give up. Don't put in the 50 chips. Okay, you're just guessing here. You're guessing. Does he have a queen, jack, ace, 2 pair? Like, the nuts. We have no idea. Yeah. I don't mind calling here, getting 9-1 pot odds with anything, because the pot odds are so good. But this is a really good example of if you are not confident playing post-flop and your post-flop is bad, just fold here. Even though you're getting incredible odds, it's okay to fold purely because your hand is so bad and you don't want to make a mistake. You're never going to win a lot of money in these early stage pots, but if you play them poorly, you can go broke and lose your whole tournament. This is also not a play I would make. Your hand's okay, and you have some chips. Like, it's not the worst play in the world. But I think when you're playing a 9-handed game and someone else is in the pot already, I would just fold here. Just play much tighter. Only raise with like ace 10 or ace jack is my advice here. Paired boards are good to c-bet, so you need to bet here. And the reason why paired boards are good to c-bet is it's much harder to hit a paired board. Again, we make the passive check because we have ace high, but think about it. If he limp called here with ace 7, you're behind. And if you bet the flop, he's going to fold ace-7, ace-6, ace-9, ace-10. He's going to fold all those hands, so you need to bet this flop. Again, like, you're checking, but you could very well be behind here. Even if he has pocket 2s, pocket 3s, he's going to fold to a bet. So again, we got quite lucky to win that one, I think. He didn't play it very well either. If he had bet at any point, he would have won. You're just asking for him to steal this pot away. You're saying, here, I check, please steal this pot, please bet. No, I check, alright, please, just steal it. I don't care about this 750, just steal it. And this guy, he doesn't know it either. He's just like, well, I guess I didn't hear it, I give up. If this was me, I would win this pot 100% of the time, because it's so weak to check back. It's not like you ever do this with a queen or an 8. So, you know, you're just getting pretty lucky to win those 2 pots, I think. But it's fine, you know, we're here to learn. Good raise. It's a little small. I'd probably make it 700. Because now, when it folds round to him, look at the pot odds that he's getting. He's getting 4.8 to 1 to call. So he should be calling here with anything. Now, he's kind of short, so it doesn't really matter, because even if he calls, you're all in on the flop anyway, right? Because he only has 850 chips left. So it doesn't matter. You have to go broke here. Yeah, well played. Nice. Alright. Alright. This is a good example of being more disciplined and tight. It's a pretty hand, but there's 6 people behind us, so just folding is fine. Especially when you're a new player. Okay, fold, 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 fold. 69 again. Didn't like that one. Check. Good. Check, check. Okay. I would bet here. The reason why I would bet is similar to the last pot we played against this guy. When people check, it means they have nothing in these low games. So just bet 150 or 170 and try and win it. You're only betting half the pot. So he doesn't have to fold terribly often for you to make that a good profitable bet. You don't have to bet full pot or like 400 to try and push him out. All you have to do is bet half the pot or a little bit more, 170, and if he calls you, that's it, give up. If he calls you, just go, alright buddy, you got it, you know. But very, very often he's just going to fold and you'll win it with 10 high. So yeah, nice, checky check. Yep, and he's got you here with ace high. You could have won that pot. But you don't have to go crazy. Just put in one bet. If he calls, give it up. Okay. Alright. It's okay to play this hand. I wouldn't necessarily raise it 600. I mean, look at how much of your stack you're putting in. What's that, like 17%? It's a lot of your stack you're putting in. So I would just either call and limp the 150, or if you want to raise and put pressure on these guys to steal, it's worth stealing the blinds, right? Because the 17 is not a full big blind. So if these two fold, you actually win most of the pot. So it's okay to raise, but 600 is too big. Just make it like 400 or 380. You don't need to make it 600. Okay. Let's fold that. Ace Jack. Walk. Alright, folding 2-4 there is good because the other guy's got a chip lead on you. So that's okay. That's trash. Let's fold that. I would never ever fold an ace on the button when when there's no one else in the pot. Always raise when you have an ace on the button. Okay, there is a few exceptions to that rule, but the only time I would maybe ever fold in this situation is if I'm on the bubble and there's like one guy who's already sitting out with one big blind and I have 10 big blinds. That's a very rare situation where you would fold because of bubble dynamics. But here, everyone's got a stack, you got an ace on the button, just raise it. Raise it, man. Make it 300, 350. Try and steal them blinds. This is a common problem that new players have. In the early blinds, Good night, I'm a pro. In the early blinds, they're way too loose, and in the late stage like this, they're way too tight. That's your problem at the moment. Okay, limping there's good. We want to play it. I would bet here. You have a flush draw, so your hand is okay, but even if you didn't have a flush draw, if you just had a black Jack 8, it's very unlikely that this guy has anything as well, right? Because remember, when you're playing No Limit Hold'em, the chance of you flopping a pair is only around 30%. So 70% of the time, he flops absolutely nothing out of the big blind. And even if he decides to call you with, say, a 3 in this situation, you still have 2 overcards and a flush draw. So you're actually a favorite against pocket. If he has a 3 or if he has a 6, you're a favorite. A very slight favorite. So, yeah. My advice here is just to bet. Be more aggressive. Post flop. Again here, you're just giving him this pot. You're giving it to him. You don't want to check call there. Because now if you hit, you're just giving up. And you're giving him the chance to bluff you. Yep. That was a gift. Gifted him that pot. Okay. Good. Alright. The ace-8 raise is good. 3x times the big blind is too much in the later stages. In the first 2 or 3 blind levels, it's fine, because everyone's very deep. You know, they have 70 big blinds, 50 big blinds. Raising 3 is okay. But here, the big blind only has 10 big blinds. So raising 3 is a significant portion of his stack, and you're committed when you make it 3. So raising here to 400 or 420, it gets the job done. It achieves the same purpose. So by raising more than 400 or 450, you're just wasting those extra chips, and those chips do make a difference. I know it doesn't look like a big difference, 100 chips, but after you play 1,000 tournaments, all those little raise size differences will add up. So this is a perfect example. Now you have to fold, and if you had just made it 400, you would have saved 200 chips there. Okay, in the money, it's good. Let's see how this guy bubbled out. I'm just a bit curious. Alright, King 9, Ace 8, that's fine. Alright, all in's fine here. You could just make a standard raise and then call an all in, but this is quite a difficult hand to play post flop. So again, if you're not confident playing post flop and you want to push all in here with 15 big blinds, that's perfectly fine. I would say go for it. Okay, fold that. Yeah, this one, however, is not strong enough to push 16 big blinds now, almost 17. It's just not a strong enough hand. It's good to steal though, so I would make a steal raise here, make it 400, 450, and then just try and play a flop. You're in position, right? You have the button, so you have the advantage post flop. If they decide to go all in pre-flop, just give it to them. Okay, calling here is okay, but again, you are calling with a weak hand, so if you're not confident here playing post flop, it's okay to just fold this, because now you have to play King 5 offsuit out of position against the chip leader. It's a really difficult spot to play. Okay, so you check, he checks. I would attack here. People checking is weak, so I would attack. I'd bet half the pot just to try and steal it. If he calls, I'm done unless I hit a king. So you check, yeah. The way you're playing is your post flop. If you hit, you're going with it, right? And if you don't hit, you're giving up. But that's a good strategy generally. But I would advise you to maybe take one stab at the pot, especially if you're going to call with King 5 offsuit and you just give up if you don't hit. You might as well just fold pre-flop. That's probably the better way of doing it, actually. If you're going to play this passively and not attack at these pots, don't play them at all. Just fold pre-flop. Yep. Alright, what did he have? Because that was a bit weird too. Ace high. Okay. Alright, good. Fold a 10. You could steal that, but it's fine to fold. The 9-6 suited. Walk with the fours. Fold that one. Again, you could steal, but it's fine to fold. Jack 4. Ooh. This is interesting. So raise, re-raise. Eights. I'm scared, man. I'm really scared. I would probably fold, to be honest. Because I think this is the first time we've ever seen this guy put in a re-raise. So this, to me, screams like a monster. And if we go all in here, we're just praying that we're flipping. He's never, right? Or sixes. Never. And it's not like he's going to fold. I don't think he's going to fold here. So the best outcome for you is he has 2 overcards. But I think a lot of the time he has an overpair and you are absolutely crushed. Wow. I did not expect that. But even in this situation, you're still flipping. So even in like the best possible situation where he has somehow he has King Jack, you're still only flipping. I would have folded pre-flop. Okay, another example of being way too weak passive. A7 blind versus blind is a monster. He only has 3 big blinds, so the pot already is 475. The pot is already bigger than his entire stack. Just put him in. Put him all in. If he's got better than you, just give him a thumbs up. Say, good job, buddy, you trapped me. Move on to the next hand. Yep, well done. We flop trips. That's an easy game. Okay, the heads up strategy. Min raise every single hand. The reason why is it's going to be profitable enough that you'll win money just by min raising every hand. Because the big blinds will play too tight. So whenever you're on the button, min raise. It doesn't matter what your hand is. And then if he does call you, well, you can decide whether you c-bet or not, depending on whether you hit a pair. Okay, an ace heads up is a monster, so we need to raise. I would be okay if you just decided to shovel in here, but I think you both have enough chips where it's a bit too much just to shove in 6,000. So I'd probably raise and make it 700 here, 750. 1200 is a bit too much. But still, I like your thinking there. Okay, we're trapping with aces. I would prefer just to raise. Because when you have aces, right, heads up, you're thinking about how can I get the money in as quickly as possible. And if you limp, already you're losing some value because there's going to be less money in on the flop. And it therefore means the flop is smaller, so your c-bet will be smaller, your turn bet will be smaller, your river bet will be smaller, and it'll be much harder to get the money in by the river. But when you raise, you know, you double the size of the flop, then therefore your c-bet's doubled in size, or it's not doubled, but it's increased. Your turn bet is increased, so it's much easier to get the money in quicker when you just raise pre-flop. So I wouldn't be trapping here, I would just raise. Bet, please bet. Yes, good. Okay, I would fold this. This is just trash. Heads up, just don't defend the trash hands. It's okay to defend connected hands and high hands like Jack 9 and King 4 because it's got a high card, but 5-9 is just junk. Just throw that away. Okay, he checked. Again, attack when they check. So when they check, just put in a small stab, right? 400. If he calls, give up. No. Too much checking. Well, now we have top pair, so we need to bet for value. That's too much. Just bet here 600. You never want to bet more than the pot, really, unless you know what you're doing. So just bet 600 or so. That's fine. 1400 is just too much. Apparently, 1400 is the perfect size because he decided to call you with king high. Good job. 1200 is too much. Just make it a min raise. Now you have to fold, and you wasted 600 chips here. Okay, raise. No. Ace 10 suited heads up is a monster. Need to raise. I find it interesting that you decided to raise the ace 4 or whatever it was, but you just check with ace 10. Ace 5, yeah, so ace 5 you raise here, ace 5 offsuit, but when you have ace 10, you just check. So clearly, I don't know, something's a bit wrong there. Ace 10 is better than ace 5, so you also need to raise this. I would bet, again, because he checked, it's weak. We have two overcards, we have a gut shot, just bet. No bet. Well, now you can check, because your hand might be good, but we bet. Or whatever. It's a bit disjointed, but we're learning, right? King 10's a good hand. You're basically going all in, so I'm okay with that because now the blinds have gone up. He only has around 15, 16 big blinds. It's fine. Okay, min raise. Good, we fold that trash. That's good. Again, we're raising too much, but that's okay. He decides to call. Now the pot is enormous. All in. Yeah, this is tough, you know, and it is tough because you raise it so much that now the pot is quite big. Your hand is so terrible. Like, if he goes all in, oh, I mean, like, I guess a 5 gives you a good hand. I don't know what to do here. I don't mind betting, but I probably wouldn't just shove. I don't know. I guess it's alright. You made it quite difficult by betting so much pre-flop. I mean, the reason why I don't mind shoving is because if he has two overcards or if he doesn't have a pair, he's just gonna fold, and the pot is huge. And even if he does call you with a pair, well, you have a gut shot, you have one overcard, so it's not the end of the world. Maybe he even folds a 6 here if you shove. So I don't mind this, I think it's okay. But I kind of think you just got lucky on that one, that you decided to make the correct post-flop play. Alright, well now we just limp. I would not push this 10-8 because it's just not strong enough. But that's fine. I would just take the free flop and see if we flop to a 10 or an 8. Ace, heads up, all in, that's good. Ace, all in, but we get a walk. 9-3, yeah, it's okay to fold that trash. That's fine. 5-9. We're a bit short. So calling 300 here is... It's a bit ambitious to try and call. Yeah, I like your fold. All in, that's fine. With the 10-9 suited, it's strong enough with this stack size. If you guys want to know about what hands you should push heads up for 10 big blinds, 12 big blinds or less, there's a Nash chart below in my description, and it'll show you exactly what stack size to shove and call. So that's down in the description. So these decisions, when you get down to 10 big blinds, you can just look at it at this one chart and not make any mistakes. That's a good all in. A6, we're going all in, well done. 9-6, it's a good hand. I don't really want to just shove all in here, I just min raise. I would never fold there, but that's okay. All in, yep, well done. King 6, you're basically all in, that's fine. Pushing a king heads up for 12 big blinds is fine. Okay, deuce 9, fold. Queen 7, all in, just all in here, because he's only got 11 big blinds, so you don't want to do this and make him think that he can get you to fold, because you never want to do this and fold. It's too much in the pot. You wouldn't advise using Nash for higher than 5 big blinds? Yeah, you're right, strong fold. It depends on, you know, Nash is just a guide. I think if you guys are just starting out and you're not that familiar with ICM and with putting your opponents on ranges, looking at a chart's really easy. So that's why I recommend using it. But if you're a more advanced player and you want to develop a more advanced push-fold game, then you can look at things other than Nash. Like, for example, if you were to just push all in every single hand with 10 big blinds that would be an okay strategy. Because most people will be too tight. Okay, good call. Alright, game over. Alright, Mike. Overall, I think just reverse your strategy. Play much tighter in the early stage and much